Traveling during a pandemic? Sure, it came with some inconveniences and precautions, but overall it was a really great trip. And it was really nice to get away because I would say that this vacation was kind of long overdue. So if you want to know what we did on our Florida vacay, then keep on watching. What's up, universe? It's Julie here and welcome back to our channel. I mentioned that this vacation was long overdue, and it really was. Joe was busy putting out videos every week for our church as his part-time job for over 53 weeks in a row. By the time we went on vacation, it was more like closer to 60 or something. And it was just like nonstop activity. In general, having a young kid during the pandemic is hard, working from home. I'm sure we can all relate. So it was about time for us to enjoy some warmer weather. It's super cold in Chicago. I mean, actually, it's still cold. I'm honestly wearing this t-shirt just so that it looks like I'm talking about Florida, but I'm like shivering right now. We took a road trip to Destin, Florida, actually more like Okaloosa Island, which is a peninsula, really close to Destin, maybe about a 10 to 15 minute drive away. It sounded really cool, looked it up, it was super family friendly. And we thought during a pandemic, like, where can we go where even though Florida is kind of like a hot spot, and also mind you, we went during spring break time. So I was afraid there would be a lot of like spring break, people running around. But we decided as long as we stay on the beach, we're outside, we're just staying in our hotel and we drive, it should be okay. And we did go back and forth between should we drive or should we fly? It ended up being a 1-week vacation with 4 days of travel for a 3-day vacation. And it didn't really even out, but at the same time, we're like, what can we do to keep ourselves the safest? And also with a young kid, it might be harder when we're flying and he can't even take off his mask or eat snacks or take a drink. What if his ears pop? So we were like, okay, maybe it's worth it to drive. So the first thing we did was we rented a minivan, and that was very helpful because we didn't think our car would actually last and make it through the trip. But also, obviously, it provided us a lot more legroom, a lot more storage space, and it was overall more comfortable. And I'll touch base on a couple of the things we did for like our road trip snacks and our eats and activities, but I decided to break them up and divide them into other videos. So remember to hit that bell and subscribe so you know when more videos are coming. I'll be talking about our road trip snacks as well as our Florida vacation eats. We had a later start in the morning than we initially wanted, and actually it wasn't even morning by the time we left. In our minds, we were thinking, okay, we gotta hit 7 hours plus breaks. It's gonna take us a long time. Let's leave around 8:30, maybe 9. We're finally about to hit the road at like 11:30.
Finally.
I know. I mean, I tried not to overpack this trip, and yet that's what happened. And Joe was like going nuts because I am an overpacker and over-preparer, but I think I went maybe just a hair overboard. I had all these like plastic bins of stuff because I decided to bring a lot of our own foods, which is why I decided to make a whole other video about like our foods and all that stuff. So we just spend most of our time like looking out the window, chit-chatting with each other, kind of playing games, and just kind of doing old-fashioned style, just kind of engaging with each other. And then we listened to a podcast, more on that in an upcoming video about some of my road trip activities. All we did was eat the food that I brought along with me. We're just eating on the road. We always ate in the car. We didn't stop by anywhere to actually eat. If we did stop, we did movement breaks and bathroom breaks / gas. We've been traveling for about 2 hours, and this is our first rest stop. Lincoln has been doing great. We've been doing nothing but just chatting, listening to music, podcast, and snacking. And so we made it all the way to Tennessee with probably only about 2 or maybe 3 breaks, but they were pretty quick. And if we had stopped to eat, then the breaks would have been much longer, dragged out for at least 30 minutes. I mean, probably more like an hour, honestly. And I was really worried about Lincoln having to like use the bathroom a lot. He's potty trained. And so we're like, oh no, that's gonna be like hard. He's gonna stop a lot, but he actually didn't. He lasted as long as we did. Joe, are you holding up driving? Okay.
I'm falling asleep.
Joe was up until 3 a.m. last night doing weird stuff like cutting his hair and pecking. And
I see you fall asleep.
so we broke it up 7 hours per day. We decided that we would stop by Tennessee as our pit stop. Lincoln, what do you think of our hotel room?
Good.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Do you feel nice to lie down and stretch out and play with your cars again? So here's our room. We just came in. We're behind schedule. We got in pretty late. It's 10 o'clock right now. In Tennessee in the hotel, we were kind of nervous about what to do about his sleeping situation because at this point, he is out of a pack and play / crib, but he's kind of too little to be in a big bed. So we decided to get, a room with 2 queen beds, and we didn't want to share the bed with Lincoln because he's notoriously like tossing and turning. He'd be like all up on us, and like I didn't want to not sleep well, like none of us be able to sleep well. So he slept in his own bed, but then we invested in these inflatable bumpers, which were super cool, and that was really helpful. And we were nervous about it. We didn't know how he would do, but he did great. We purposely chose this hotel because I told Joe that I wanted to be able to have like sort of like a kitchenette. So we did put away all the stuff from the cooler into the fridge, which was nice. And we're able to fill our cooler up with some more ice. And then the next day, I used some of the morning to cook up like little lunch bento boxes for us. Joe went downstairs and got breakfast for us. Lincoln had a really late start. And then we just had like a pretty lazy morning and then hit the road again. We're about to leave Nashville now. We just packed up. We again had a later start than expected. We ate breakfast in the room, packed up, and I cooked stuff for lunch for the road. So that took extra long time, and then we're just like loading everything back. But the good thing is, we don't really have to stop by for food and stuff because I did pack it. Bye-bye, Nashville. On to Florida. This is day 2, and where are we going?
Florida.
That's right.
And southeast on Elm Hill.
We're not gonna get there until kind of late tonight, but it's okay because we'll just play on the sand tomorrow, right? I started out sitting originally in the back of the van with Lincoln this time because I didn't want to always just be in the front, and I felt like if I was in the back, I could dig into my Mary Poppins bag, which was this bag of goodies I had of activities and little trinkets and toys to kind of keep Lincoln occupied. So I had that in the back. I think it was a combination of sitting in the back and then constantly turning to give him something or answer questions, or like something was making me seriously car sick. I couldn't even eat the bento box that I packed for ourselves. And I was just like really nauseous, getting a headache, not enjoying that leg of the trip. So eventually I did switch over to the front again. How are you holding up? 2 days of travel, about 2 hours left. I think you did a great job. How's that lumbar pillow thing that you're using?
Pretty nice.
You recommend it? So Joe bought this like lumbar pillow thing. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, like right here. To help him with his back, and I think that's helping him a lot. If you like it, we can leave a link down below. But the trip has been pretty good. Yeah. We finally made it to our hotel in Florida late at night. We made it into Florida. Woo woo!
I still can't see water and sand.
Yeah, I know. Lincoln is anxious. He wants to see the sand and the beach, but I don't think. We saw like 2 little palm trees maybe, and the welcome to Florida sign. But otherwise, Taco Town. When we got to the hotel, we were looking around the surrounding area for food, but everything was closed by this time because it was pretty late. So I ended up just busting out more food that I brought along with us, and we just ate whatever I was making, like cup noodles and stuff in the hotel. I didn't set up yet, but we're hungry. I just wanted to get the food ready. So Joe is super tired. He's like burnt out, I think, from the long drive and navigating and everything. So good job, Joe.
Thanks.
I think he's trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. The next morning, we finally walked out into the beach, and Joe purposely chose this hotel because the beach was accessible from the hotel. We thought that would be really convenient. And so we walked out, and we knew it was still a little chilly because this was like spring break time, but a little earlier on. So we knew it was chillier in Florida, but of course it was warmer than Chicago, so we were fine with it. I didn't even wear my bathing suit, and we just walked out. So that's our hotel, and this is the walk to the beach. So it was super convenient. I was so amazed at how fluffy and soft and buttery the sand was. No rocks, no shells, no jaggedy pieces poking at your feet, and it was so beautiful and white. We ended up taking a picture and sending it to some of our friends in Chicago, and they were so hilarious because they responded back by sending us pictures. They're like, You have white sandy beaches, we have white snowy backyards, and it had snowed during that time in Chicago. We had initially kept all of our beach stuff still in the van because we didn't want to lug all the stuff into the hotel because we seriously looked like we were moving in for like 2 weeks. Actually, let me know in the comments below if you want to see some archival footage of our last trip to Florida. We had gone to Florida pre-pandemic and filmed this whole beautiful vlog there, but we never posted it. So let me know if you want me to dig it out of the vault and edit it and show you what we did there. Leave it in the comments. So that last trip, we were like going all out. We rented like the beach chairs and the cabana kind of thing. This time we weren't sure with COVID and like, you know, is it gonna be expensive? Is it gonna be crowded? Is it first come, first serve? So we decided to bring our own stuff. So we brought our own like lawn chairs and like little beach tent and all of Lincoln's sand toys. Obviously, Lincoln just wanted to dig in the sand all day. Like seriously, he'd be super content if he could just dig in sand all day. And then eventually it was so awesome to see him brave the water and dip his feet in the water, because in our last Florida trip, he was a little young. He was so scared of the water, the ocean, the waves, like the coldness, the crashing sounds. So he did not even want to do that. This time, he just jumped right in and he was like really happy to do it. Even though it was cold, the water was cold. He was happy to put his feet in and splash around in the water. So that was really cool to see. Eventually around lunchtime, we were deciding what should we do. Like it was forecasted to rain the next day, unfortunately. So Joe was like, you know, I don't want to lose this spot and, you know, break down the tent and all the shenanigans. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go back up to the hotel and make something from the food that we have. Now, mind you, by this time, throughout our 2 days of travel, staying in 2 different hotels, I still hadn't bought any food. Like we were just eating the stuff that I made. So it was crazy. So in the end, it was kind of funny and ironic that I was overpacking and bringing all this food, but that we were really relying on it. It was kind of nice to do that, to just eat on the beach and just kind of have like a picnic. Afterwards, we went back up to the hotel, washed up, and then we went out to this boardwalk area in Destin. So we had to drive into Destin. We go over a bridge and then go into like the little town or the city.
Look at all those boats hanging out there.
Lincoln, look at this cute little beach town we're going to. Look, do you see all that stuff? All the boats. We're gonna go there and walk around. Isn't that fun? Lincoln had a really busy day at the beach.
And the water, so many boats.
And there's this harbor walk village or something like that. And it's this little boardwalk area where it's very touristy looking, you know, like activities for kids and families. And there's like food trucks and some other like restaurants and stuff. But I will tell you guys, because this was like pandemic time, and at the time none of us were vaccinated, I was actually feeling anxiety. Like I normally don't feel that anxious in this situation, especially being outside, but I think this was the first time that like I saw like crowds of people. This is our official first sit-down restaurant of the entire trip. Actually eating out at all, not even on the road trip. So we're kind of going all out. Right here, that's the dock. It's really nice. There's a nice breeze. It's kind of chilly today, but not super cold. I mean, definitely warmer than Chicago. It was nice because of the view. We were right by the water, so it was good to finally feel like I was kind of on vacation off of mom duty. The next morning, we couldn't tell if it was actually supposed to rain or not. It was a little gloomy. I think every morning we woke up, it was a little gloomy and you could see the palm trees swaying and getting like very windy. But it was funny because I posted one picture on my IG story, and then my friend Jenny, she instantly DM'd me and was like, I recognize that sand. Are you in Florida? And I wished I had talked to her before we went on our trip because I just thought Destin's Destin. I didn't even think like which part, but they usually go to Seaside every year. That's where they filmed The Truman Show, you know, that movie with like the picturesque town. It's like picture perfect, quaint, it's like made for TV. And she's like, and some of the stuff is like still there. It still looks the same. So I was really intrigued. So we're like, well, if it's going to rain, then maybe we shouldn't like risk just setting up our stuff on the beach, but maybe let's just walk through that beach town. From where we were, it was probably like 45 minutes to an hour away. But we decided to go anyway, and Lincoln fell asleep on the way there. Lincoln had a rough night of sleep last night, which he doesn't remember, which meant that we had a rough night of sleep. We were just generally tired, I think, from travels and stuff too, and we did go to sleep late too because we were researching and doing work and things like that. So we're gonna head out and go to Seaside Beach, and we got this tip from our friends Jenny and Martin, who come here pretty much like every year. This is new to us, like we didn't even know which area to go to when we heard to go towards Destin, but it'll be fun. It's about 45 minutes away from where we are because we're like on a peninsula right now. But man, when we got there, I was like, we should have talked to her beforehand. We're on the wrong side of the beach. Like, I mean, in the end, it was kind of nice that we were in Okaloosa Island and kind of in this more remote area because, yeah, my anxiety levels did go up a little bit when we were at Seaside because there were so many people there. There was a lot of the spring breakers. There were some families with young kids, but it was a lot of like the college spring breakers. Everyone's driving around in golf carts, and like, it's funny because we kind of had this thing when we used to live in California that if you go to like the nicer areas, the palm trees get bushier and like bigger and more luxe looking. And that's exactly what it looked like, you know, like Beverly Hills or something, but it actually had this more like Hamptons vibe, you know, where it had like everything was like the white buildings, the white picket fences. We made it to Seaside area and it is so nice. It's like lush and bougie. And we're like, oh, we stayed in the wrong area. So, but it's not bad because where we are, it's right by the beach and it's fine. It's still like soft white sand. We enjoyed it yesterday. But yeah, this is about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away from where we're staying, but we'll know for next time. Yeah, it's more like an urban beach town, so it's not super sleepy beach town. There's still like a lot of restaurants and shops and everyone's walking around and riding bikes, and buildings are really beautiful. So yeah, this definitely has that Truman Show quality, you know, like that picturesque, picture perfect kind of place. Lincoln is taking a nap because he's so tired from his late night. And maybe it would have been different if we had gone like on a season where, or like a week where it wasn't spring breakers, and then maybe it would have felt like a little bit more quaint. So it was really cool and fun, but I was getting a little bit like, oh my gosh, there's too many people. I had done some quick research of where to eat, so I decided to go to this like seafood shack. I think it was called Shrimp Shack, and it was just like this little outdoor like area where there's all these tiny little like food stalls or like kind of restaurants that are all open. So the good thing is that you do everything outside, and obviously it's warmer, so it's fine. And we grabbed ourselves a spot and we got like probably one of the best seafood meals that we had there. And it's something that we've been like kind of yearning for and craving because we don't really eat that much seafood in the Midwest, like in Chicago, because we're not near, you know, the oceans and stuff. It was really awesome. It was like one of Joe's probably favorite meals, and we'll talk about it more. But yeah, it was good to just sit there and enjoy the sunshine and the breeze and eat a really good seafood meal. And then we decided to walk on the beach yet again. So by now, like we thought it was supposed to rain, but it didn't. The sun came out and we were trying to find the beach, but it was all private entrances because I think people rent a lot of villas, or they own them. Like a lot of the villas had people's names written on there, like, you know, like permanently, like, cause they come here every year for their vacation home. And I was like, that must be so nice. Then there's like these entrances towards the back to go to the beach. So we had to like walk a mile away from that area and go through the public entrance. But the beach was just as nice. We thought that it still looked kind of private because there was all the hotel cabanas and umbrellas everywhere, but we still just perched our own little green tent out. And it's funny because we didn't think that we were gonna go to the beach that day, but we just fortunately had kept all of our beach stuff still in the trunk. We made it to the beach again. We weren't really prepared, and yet we had this tent in the trunk, the pop-up tent and the blanket. So we're just making do, but we didn't even have proper sunscreen. All I had was face sunscreen, so we're just gonna put on that and reapply. But we made it to the water.
I've got this feeling, I'm feeling you could be the one. I see no reason why I should ever let you go. I don't wanna wake up if I'm dreaming, because you know I can't get enough of this feeling you're giving me. Don't wanna wake up. No, I don't wanna wake up. I don't wanna wake up without you. Baby, without I wouldn't know what to. Baby, without you I wouldn't know what to. Oh, you know, oh, you know, oh, you know, I wouldn't know what.
Eventually, when we were heading home, that's when it started to rain, and it was like torrential rain. Then it was like pretty wild. And we're like, wow, we really did beat the rain. Thank God it lasted us through the whole day. I guess we left the beach just in time. The predicted rain is coming down now, but we don't know if this is going to be the same rain closer to our hotel. So we'll see, and we'll see what tomorrow will be. That's our last day of vacation. I was asking Joe if it was short, long, just enough. What's your answer?
We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
We're gonna lay low tomorrow anyway. Like probably just stay around the hotel since we were out and about today. It was weird though. I haven't yet to put on my bathing suit. I brought it, but I didn't like need it. We haven't gone in the water. Just like dipped our legs.
The water's still too cold.
Yeah. So then we drove an hour back, and by the time we got back, we were pretty tired, so we just got Thai food takeout and we just ate it in the hotel watching like Food Network or something, and just called it a night. The next day we weren't sure what to do because once again it was predicted to rain. So we're like, do we go out around onto the beach or do we try somewhere else? So we decided to go to this pier area where you can like literally walk on a pier. But then when we got there, it was like pay $2 per person, and we're being so cheap. We're like, why are we paying $6 to go walk on a pier? You could do that for free in like Santa Monica or anywhere else. There wasn't like anything at the end. It wasn't some like carnival area, boardwalk. It was just a pier. So I was like, okay. So we ended up not doing that. And instead we just like walked along yet another beach. So now by this time we're in like 3 different beach areas. And it was nice though, because we could still just walk along the waves. There was a ton of restaurants along that strip because I think that's a touristy area too, where the pier is. We could have eaten at any one of those restaurants, but I think we want to try a little bit more like off the beaten path or like not so touristy. And so we did go and stop by. There was this cute little playground on the beach, which ended up being kind of like Lincoln's private playground because nobody was there. Super nice view. Lincoln is literally the only one on it, so it's kind of nice. It's like a private playground by the beach. So he just played on there for a while. It was good for him to do something fun, and it's awesome because you could fall down and just fall on soft sand. You don't hurt yourself. And then we just sat on some benches, and he got some gelato, and we were just watching the ocean while he's eating gelato. He didn't want to leave because he was just like playing these like boardwalk games and jumping on little like animal critters and stuff. And then we decided to go off the beaten path to this place called Stubby's. It's not that off the beaten path. It's actually like very close to our hotel. It was kind of like the seafood shack again. That's good flavor. It's juicy too.
Yummy?
We make it back to our hotel and then decide to go on our beach again. We're back at our hotel and in front of our beach now. This is is our last day. The weather is much better than we thought it would be. We thought it was going to be gloomy and raining, but it's not. It's actually kind of sunny. It's still a little windy, and there's like a 2 red flag warning, so that the waves are kind of like choppy. But otherwise, what time is it? It's 2:50. We're just going to keep it easy, probably stay here for the rest of the day. We stayed out there, and this time we were all in our swimming suits. We were like splashing around in the water. It was a little colder, a little bit windier, so we couldn't still like immerse ourselves in the ocean. Definitely had more fun just like frolicking in the waves, playing in the sand, making sand castles and moats.
That was really wet.
Yeah, because you almost fell.
We just packed up, went back into the hotel knowing that was like our last activity for the night. By the time we washed up, took showers and everything, we're like, there's not much to do. It's getting dark, we're tired. So we thought, maybe we should go mini golfing because it's kind of cute. There was like this cute little mini golf place right across from our hotel with like an ice cream shop. We could have done that, but we just weren't feeling it. So then guess what we did? So we ended up going to Whataburger, which is like a fast food chain. And like we ended up going because Joe was kind of intrigued because he said it's like a Texas chain, or it started in Texas. So we had that, and then we ended up going to Target of all places. It's our last few moments of the last night of Florida. We just went to Target and we let Lincoln pick out a toy or a present, a memorabilia. Yeah?
Get a picture of me in my car.
Okay, I will. His grandma called me before we left and said to buy him something for them for his birthday, because it was his 4th birthday right before we left and we didn't get to see them. So I thought that was really sweet of them, and I decided to take them up on their offer. And what was more appropriate than getting like Disney cars, while we're in the land of Disney.
There's something in the box this time.
Okay.
Jackson Storms.
Okay, you can play with them now.
Okay. Let's have a race. Thank you, Hami and Haji, for my present.
Oh, good job. The next morning, we took it easy, packed up. Loading the van took forever, and then we decided to go to Stubby's again for lunch, but this time right next door. It's the same restaurant, but this side has the fish market.
We're all checked out. We're going to hit, I forgot what the restaurant is called.
Stubby's Steamer and Market. It's kind of where we went before, but right next door. So it's like the steamed seafood. We're heading home. This is our last morning in Florida. We're going home, Lincoln. You ready to go home? You're not ready to go home? You want to stay on vacation in Florida? I know. I wish we could stay longer too. Oh, here it is.
We're here again.
Now I know the difference. Like, we were just getting seafood, but we didn't know we had to look specifically for steamed seafood, because that's like what we were looking for, with like the crab legs and like the boiled potatoes and the corn and like that kind of stuff. That was so good. And like, I was so sad that we weren't there for even one more day, for one more meal. I'm like, man, we should have eaten this before. It was so close to our hotel. Could have done that the whole time instead of like looking around for Thai food or random stuff. But you live and you learn. So it just means that next time, if we ever go back to that area, we know where to go. And for the rest of you guys, if you go to Florida, look for the steamed seafood dinners. Makes me want to stay here another day. Did you have a good trip?
I wish it was a little bit more relaxing, but
Yeah.
still good.
You need a vacation from your vacation?
It's time to just veg.
Yeah. Oh, I got like a second of it. You're so weird. Okay, go. Daddy's weird. So we just drove and eventually got like Chipotle for dinner, because of all things, Lincoln wanted Chipotle while we were in Florida. Couldn't find it. It was too far. And then we made it to Nashville late at night. Made it into Nashville, and it's around 9:23. Good job. We did it.
We did it.
And when we got there, it was like, ooh, because it got so cold all of a sudden. We're like, oh no, now we were so used to wearing like short sleeves and shorts and, you know, enjoying the sun. So it was like super cold. We had to put on our coats again. At first, we were in the hotel and just settling in, but then there was a problem with our hotel room. So we were able to switch, which was kind of like a cool thing because then we were able to get this suite style. We got switched to a different room because there was a problem with our other room. And this is a better room because it's a suite. This would have been very convenient on our Florida stay. So we could have had like a separate room to be in while Lincoln was sleeping. I'm like, this would have been very helpful when we were in Florida instead of being crammed in this like little 1-bedroom type of situation. I mean, because in Florida, we didn't even have like a place to kind of really sit anywhere else besides the bed. But here it was like all out suite. And I'm like, this is kind of nice for just like a pit stop hotel. The next day we woke up and you'll never believe what we did. We ended up going to the Goodwill outlets. But we're also going to try out a Goodwill, but this is kind of fun because it might be a Goodwill outlet, which means it has the bins where you sort through a bunch of junk and trash and you just try to find the jewels, the gems, and then you pay for it by the pound. I see a lot of people on YouTube doing it and it always seemed cool, but there's no Goodwill outlets near us where we live. You have to kind of go far away. So we're like, oh, this one's like less than 10 minutes away. So I think this is it. Wasn't that so funny? But like, who are you talking to? Okay. Like I wanted the whole trip to somehow go thrifting. I mean, don't you like that? If you're a thrifter, you know what I mean, right? You go to a different area, you want to check out the local regional thrifting to see like, ooh, is there different stuff here? And then Joe looks it up, he finds one, but guess what? It's a Goodwill outlets. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I've been wanting to go for so long and I'm excited to share with you that we went and it was like my first time. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm bugging out. And I ended up buying stuff and I'm gonna have a haul for you and it's gonna be coming out on this channel. So make sure that you subscribe and push that bell so that you receive notifications whenever we post new videos about this Florida series. I can't wait to share with you what I got and share with you my experience about what it was like for my first time at a Goodwill outlets. And then before we left, we had to eat lunch. Joe really wanted to try out Hattie B's hot fried chicken. It's like a specialty in Nashville. I've heard about it for a while. It's on a lot of like different shows. Like I even heard like Kristen Cavallari talk about it on her reality show and stuff, right? And so I wanted to try it, but I, like so many of us, thought maybe it's gimmicky or it's not all that cracked up to be, or maybe it's just like chicken covered in really, really hot sauce and it's just hot and that's like the whole draw. So I wasn't like honestly that excited to try it. But Joe really wanted to. And it's funny because I'm the fried chicken lover, not Joe. So he's the one who convinced us to go. We go there, there's a huge line. And again, I'm gonna vlog about that a little bit more. So with our thrifting and Hattie B's experience, we are now leaving Nashville at 4 p.m., which is crazy cakes. Without any stops, we'll get home at midnight. Yeah, that's what happened. The rest of the road trip was kind of a blur. I think that we were just trying to get through that last leg. So Lincoln watched a lot more of his DVDs. At one point, Joe was starting to fade. We got like Panda Express for dinner. And it's because we like literally lost track of time. It was really late. There was nothing else open. And then we had to stop by Starbucks because Joe was really starting to fade. Why did all drinking Starbucks right now?
Actually, it's Eastern time, so it's close to 9 o'clock.
So why is everyone drinking
I don't know.
Starbucks right now? For us, it makes sense because we're not going to get home until around like midnight or after.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock a.m. Yeah. So, and for us, it makes sense. What about all these folios? I guess we're a folio too. Joe said all he wants to do is close his eyes. Oh my God. Yeah. And if you're wondering why I don't drive on these trips, it's because Joe doesn't trust me to drive on these trips. So he's doing this to himself. So that's probably like one of the last clips that we have from our actual trip. We don't even have us like arriving home, but it was really nice to get away. I think that it was really worth it to do all that extra effort and energy and preparation and planning because of a pandemic. Yeah, overall, I felt like it was a really good trip for our soul. It was like what we needed to revive us. So this trip was like the first time, even in the pandemic, a lot of people, they felt like they had nothing but family time, like a lot more family time to slow down and be together. Whereas for us, with our schedule, it was a lot more like playing hot potato with Lincoln, like passing him off and one person watches him and like trying to fight for time to work or do chores or errands. And it wasn't very like this like kumbaya moment with us during 2020 and the pandemic. So this was the first time that we could isolate, concentrate, stop, slow down, barely did any work, and we just kind of like were together enjoying being on the road, being in the hotels. You did great on our ride here, Lincoln. Oh. You know, being scrappy and like having these funny stories about like what we ate, what we did, and really having no agenda. Like we did a little bit of research of what to do when we were there, but a lot of it was just like, we're just gonna sit on the beach and relax. We wouldn't have even gone to Seaside if it wasn't for my friend responding to me on my IG story. And even then I wasn't about to post anything. Like we were just being very chill and in the moment and present. Even with vlogging, I wasn't sure we were gonna do it, but I decided to just capture the moments and like little clips here and there. So remember to subscribe to this channel so that you can watch a little bit more in depth of us as I break it down of like, you know, things that we ate, the things that we did in separate videos, and also our Goodwill outlet haul, because I feel like that's a good one and it's like very interesting. I hope you enjoy watching this kind of like Florida vacay during a pandemic road trip video. And if you did, let me know by pushing like. And leave a comment down below if you went somewhere for a spring break, if you've ever been to Okaloosa Island or Seaside or Destin in general, and let me know if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.